Hello and welcome to this week's show, and we're looking at the 1981 movie The Long Good Friday, starring Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren, and is regarded by many as one of the greatest gangster movies, if you will, or crime pictures of the 20th century, most certainly. And certainly everything, it's the greatest this, it's the greatest that, it's the best written picture, it's the best directed picture, and yet nobody really seems to put any focus on the action or stunts in the picture. There aren't that many. It's not wall to wall action, as an action thriller maybe these days. It relies very heavily on characters and the narrative, but it is a very important movie, and there are key action sequences along the way that do develop the story as it goes along and do change things as far as the story is concerned. And certainly, without many of these action sequences taking place, a lot of people probably wouldn't remember it as much. It wouldn't have stayed in the public's eye as much as it maybe has done. So hopefully this is a little way to saying thank you to Roy Alon, the stunt coordinator, and the stunt team, who did all the incredible action that you're going to see. We're going to highlight those action sequences, identify a few people for you, and we will start at the very top like this. So, The Long Good Friday, and a movie from 1981 that means a great deal to many people. Here's our first performer. It's Terry Forrestal, who's doing the diving for Paul Freeman. Apparently the character needed to have some sort of flamboyance about him, and that particular dive was a good example. Here is the first major action piece in the movie. This is Eric, the chauffeur, coming out of the church, going down the steps, and then the cut. And this is now stuntman Frank Henson walking into the car, open the door, close the door, bang, car goes off and erupts. Now, normally that would be done as two separate shots. He would get in, and then the car would then be blown up elsewhere. But look, he comes in, watch the boot. There, just starts to explode. He now lies down across the bench seat at the front, and that car was rigged to blow when he gets in. There are panels in that car which they have flashbangs put under them, and Frank, so he tells me, was safe as houses in there. There was carnage going off behind. The windscreens were blowing out. They weren't being blown in, they were blowing out. Little fragments of glass here and there, but he was effectively lying down and out of trouble. And it's an extraordinary gag. This is Peter, who is played by Billy Cornelius. He is the landlord of Harold's Pub, and you may have seen him before. He doubled Odd Bod in Carry On Screaming. Did a lot of the Carry On pictures. Another one, of course, that he did was again Doctor, and this is him in the double plaster, being hoisted up in his bed. Big name, Billy Cornelius. Now, the abattoir sequence. Interesting situation, this, because the camera crew had suggested, look, let's go in, put me upside down, let's take it from that perspective. And there is a perspective in there where everything is upside down. Of course, that was the plan, was to get the villains rounded up, or the local villains rounded up, hang them up like pieces of meat and interrogate, hence here. That's not going to help our perspective, and you'll just get queasy when you look at the footage. So what I've done is I have rotated the film, so you will see them, yes, they're hanging upside down, but you will see them the right way around, so you don't have to do what we had to do back in those days, which was tilt your head at 90 degrees to try and find out who was who. First along is Jim Dowdle, who, upside down, there's Tim Condren. everybody looks very odd in the upside down position, the blood rushing to their head. And again, they're one of these shots that you didn't really want to spend too much time doing because it does take an awful lot out of you. Terry Plummer, obviously, because Terry Plummer was in everything during the 70s. If there's a movie with reference to gangsters or trouble, Plummer's there. And again, they're all looking a bit rougy. They've been hanging upside down a little while. On the end, that's dear old Bill Weston on the end, who is struggling a little bit, I think it's safe to say, with the situation he's been put into there. But again, if you couldn't take a joke, you shouldn't join. And Bill was one of those who was very happy to do bits and pieces for Roy Alon. But yes, I imagine that, and also because it's that period, everybody has slightly longer hair, so they get that slightly bouffant look in the upside down position. And when this frame runs all the way down, so you've got Plummer, you've got Tim Condren, and then there is our Jim acting his socks off there. And there's Terry Forrestal at this end. And they are the lads in the abattoir. Now, the banger racing, and this is the big action piece in the whole movie. The banger racing, of course, filmed at Haringey Dog Track. There is Roy, and he got Vic Armstrong in and Jack Cooper to do a lot of the driving. They were driving around for a couple of hours, and they were getting pretty good. You know, they were really enjoying themselves. Jim Dowdle was out there as well, loving it, and so it was a nice way to get working. They only took a couple of shots from the picture. But Roy is the IRA paymaster, and he's now going to come into the office and discuss the options or count the money. And this is his scene right here.
This is Mr. Shand. He's brought the money and he wants an answer.
How much is that? 60 grand. It's in the case. You better count it. If you don't mind, I will.
So they set down to counting the money. That's O'Flaherty, is the other guy next to Roy. And Harold has a plan, and it involves a surprise entrance. Lads, in they come. And now Frank Henson is doubling O'Flaherty. Gunshots, sawn-offs in the room, through the windows, falling down. Frank's now driving this car, has to swerve up a little ramp, turns it over. Mark Boyle slides, running over the dummy of Roy. And in now comes Roy, driving a pink car, up a little ramp, gets the top of that car there and creates what is known as a T-bone meeting. And then the explosion afterwards, this way up, which it says on the boot of the car. And there's Roy himself now directing traffic. Got everywhere in this picture, but again was only brought in at the last moment because the actor who was supposed to play the character didn't make the location, and Roy was happy to stand in. So not much action in the picture, but a quality team providing quality action, and it has never been highlighted. And hopefully this will go some way to saying thank you. So that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed that. And next week we will do more of the same with Ryan O'Neill and Barbara Streisand in the Peter Bogdanovich movie What's Up, Doc? So until then, it's bye for now.